Welcome to Charts Today. My name is David Linton, and today's edition for Monday, the 12th of October, comes to you from London. And markets still pretty mixed. We saw quite a good moves on the US markets on Friday, and the futures are up this morning. So, despite all the bad news about coronavirus and the worries about the US election, markets seem to be shrugging this off still. Looking at the US dollar, we saw a bit of receding back in the last couple of weeks, and we see that move in the last few days taking us back to test these lows. But of course, we are still in recovery mode, but we're bearish below the cloud on all three charts. Remembering this is my weekly, daily and 60-minute chart, long-term, medium-term and short-term views of the market. The euro dollar is sitting at 118. So that's moving higher on that weaker dollar, and if we look at sterling, it's actually above 130 this morning. So we moved higher again on that weaker dollar, so back above the 130 mark for sterling. Looking at sterling, it's the euro. We're sitting at 110.20, so also improving against the euro. Against Bitcoin, we're seeing quite a big jump here in the last few days, above the $11,000 level quite convincingly. We've got now lots of upside targets. $13,000 is the next target, really. So we are just seeing Bitcoin appreciating and looking quite good. US stock market was up just under 1% on Friday, so that's made a good week. We see that weekly candle there, so that's significant. And the Nasdaq was also up strongly as well, of course. So we are seeing markets recovering, pushing higher. The downside targets still do hang over us, but we have activated this upside target, so that's pretty bullish for the market. But of course, until we make new highs, we can't still be sure that we see a fall away here. That bearish engulfing candle is hanging over us until we make new highs. The Dow was up 0.5%, so that's looking stronger as well. And the futures this morning, the S&P mini up, E-mini up 0.2%, and the Nasdaq up 0.6%. So the flow of money into the large tech stocks still continues. The VIX volatility is actually up this morning, but we're sitting at 25, and we seem to be comfortable in the mid-20s. It's above that 30 level that there seems to be some resistance. So the fear index is falling away, if you like. The FTSE future in the UK is down 0.23% this morning, and the DAX is up just slightly in Germany, and the CAC 40 is flat. So we are seeing European markets fairly quiet, waiting for that US Open. Japan was down 0.25% overnight. It's been pretty flat the last several weeks, and the Hang Seng was actually up 2%. We saw China and Hong Kong stocks actually looking very much stronger. Chinese stocks up 2.6%, so a return to short-term bullish there. In India, the Sensex was down 0.2%, still is bullish above the cloud on all three time frames though, so looking pretty good there. And the Aussie market was up 0.5%. Still has a lot of work to do to get into bullish territory on that long-term chart, but short and medium term, well, looking better, looking like we might break this 4 months of sideways movement. Gold is sitting at $1,926. It's bullish on all three time frames. We've activated this upside target to $2,010, so that's significant. Back above 2,000 will be psychologically important for gold. And silver also really moving very sharply this morning. We're seeing that upside potential there. We're just moving higher. US 10-year yield sitting steady at 0.77%. So we're just holding that 0.75% level. Looking at the energy mix, it's lower this morning. We see a sea of red here. Brent crude is just starting to fall through the cloud. We've activated this downside target. We are neutral above $42, but if we fall through that $42 level, that will put us into bearish territory, and that downside target is in play. After such a good week for crude oil last week, wouldn't be surprised to see Brent falling away. The same with WTI, of course, similar picture there. US nat gas rocketed last week, and we are just nudging this $3 level, so looking very much more bullish on the chart. We need to break the 295 level to activate an even bigger upside target, so it will be interesting to see whether nat gas can do that. Looking at RBOB, we see we're just turning bearish here, and we've got a downside target to play for, so this is now not looking as good. And coal also just steady, but we are seeing this morning it's opening lower, and we have got downside targets looking like we hit strong resistance at 61 there. Here we see emissions. And we're really pushing much lower. The story last week was we broke that 26 level. We did actually manage to bounce back above it at the close, but this morning we've just gone straight through it, and we're sitting at 25.30. 25 is the level that we need to watch. That previous level set in July. If we break that, we're hitting 4-month lows, and that would be bearish. We do have a downside target of 23.94, so that's obviously quite a lot below 25, and the same to 20 euros. And we're seeing all of the big upside targets coming off the charts. So emissions, the sentiment has really changed to bearish, and we're seeing that lower as well. We're seeing gas prices falling quite heavily in Europe this morning. MBP down nearly 3%, but the trend being maintained. TTF also down around a similar amount, but the uptrend being maintained. And seasonal gas falling by about 1.4%. Gazprom, we don't have a price yet, but we're seeing that's still looking pretty bullish as well. German power significantly lower this morning, sitting at 40 euros 20. We've turned bearish on power for this week. It's looking like we are really breaking this trend now. It's still too early to say. This was a nice ascending triangle pattern, but it looks like we're going to come back and test this 39 euro level, and a fall through that would be very bearish. So for the moment, power market's not looking good, and that's filtering through to other power contracts. Here we see the quarterly contract. We're seeing French power. We don't have a price yet, but it is lower, and that chart, French power is actually looking pretty sick compared to most power markets. We've been weak on French power for some time, and we're seeing that move below the cloud. Dutch power will probably follow German power, of course, and we're seeing Nordic power lower this morning as well, down 1.4% on the CAL and down 2% on the quarterly. Czech power should also follow German power and head lower, and UK power is actually just holding down 2% this morning. That's it for today. Keep an eye on this oil price. That's the big one. If we fall through 42, that's going to have quite an impact on the whole energy mix, and a lot of red in the screen. Until tomorrow, happy charting. See you then.